away. We're back in the area again. This is not quite as exciting as a beach in Oregon to do the Wednesday night tap talk from, but it'll do. Cheers, and we're happy. You heard my voice crack there. We're happy to be back. Now we are. We're both Ash and I are happy to be back at home, but sure did have a heck of a trip out there in Oregon. So if you didn't catch last week's tap talk, feel free to maybe cure a little bit of the winter, the fall blues, and go check out a little bit of beach scenery. I can't offer you quite the same experience as last time, but cheers anyway. Hope you've got something nice and cozy to hang out and drink while you're kicking back on this Wednesday evening. It's dark out there now. Full on, has been dark for a little while now, and we're not going to get any more light for quite a few months, so kind of settling into the fall routine here. Along with that comes some good fall beer drinking, and so why not just dig right in and get into it and enjoy it. We just wrapped up our spooky movie trivia tonight. That was our monthly trivia series, and featured horror movies and Halloween themed movies and just general movies of that nature, and so it's a lot of fun. Well, the next one coming up next month, have a topic, but I'm not going to announce it here because I don't want to make a big thing because we're not 100%. Might be something different. Anyway, you're here for the beer, so let's touch base on a few fun things we've got on tap now, and then we'll dip into a couple of the fun things from Oregon as well. But kicking it off with what is just the fun seasonal thing that ties into our movie theme tonight as well. I've got myself a glass of the New Holland Ichabod Pumpkin Ale here. So yeah, cheers, and I hope you've got something fun to enjoy. This one is pretty much, I would consider a classic pumpkin ale. I think it's probably what you think of when you are expecting to have a pumpkin beer. So it is, it's kind of a golden bordering on amber color, and it's got a fair bit of malt body to it. It's a little bit toasty. There's a touch of caramel in there, but then it's got the spices and the flavoring that you expect from pumpkin pie. Yeah, so there's a nice malty kind of almost nutty flavor to it, and it starts off with that kind of caramel, very malt forward and pumpkin forward, and then it transitions into the kind of the pumpkin pie spices. You get some of that cinnamon, a little bit of maybe nutmeg in there as well. So it almost has a little bit of a spiciness on the finish, which makes it for a nice, it's not a sweet beer, it's nice and dry finishing, but it's only like 4.5%. So it's a pumpkin beer that I feel like you could, some are a little bit decadent and dessert-like, can't have a lot of them. This one you could have a few pints of for sure. Yeah, and New Holland is a pretty excellent brewery. They make sort of killer stuff. They're really well known, I think, at this point for their Dragon's Milk Imperial Stout. They're from Michigan, from Holland, Michigan. But this has been one of their probably one of their more well-known seasonal beers throughout the years. So Ichabod, we just tapped it, and looking at running this thing through Halloween and maybe into November a little bit, depending on how thirsty you all are. So get yourself a little bit of Ichabod, cap off your fall. Great beer for pumpkin carving if you're needing such a thing. I don't recall if I talked about this beer the last podcast I did before we left. And since I don't remember, and it's really tasty, I'm going to talk about it again. I don't even care. It is an ideal fall beer. It's really good any time of the year, but it's especially good when on these kind of chillier nights, when you want something that's going to kind of warm you up a little bit. This one is Oskar Blues Old Chub. Yeah, so this thing, Oscar Blues, the brewery, they're based out of Colorado. And Old Chub, this is one of their main year-round beers. Say what you will about the name, whether you think it's good or dumb or gross or spot on or whatever. It's just a damn good beer. It is very focused on the malt, and just to rewind, because I never want people to feel uneducated or out of place when I'm talking about anything beer related. Malt, when it refers to something being malty, refers to the flavors that are coming from the grains that are used to make the beer. And since beer is almost exclusively made from barley, that is the primary grain used in beer. Many other grains also used: oats, wheat, rye, spelt. You name it, it's used in brewing. If it's a source of sugar, it can be used to make beer, but the most predominant one is barley. And the way you get a beer to look like this, as opposed to like really light and pale, is by toasting the malt. Just kind of like how you would bake bread, roast coffee, anything like that. Exposing it to heat causes the sugars in there to caramelize, to start to burn if you let it go long enough. If you get it at just the right point, you get those nice toasted flavors, like when you toast bread, or if you make caramel. Any type of thing where you're exposing stuff that has sugar in it to heat, it starts to caramelize, and you get this really deep, rich flavor. And this one is a particularly strong beer, also at 8% alcohol. So it is not over the top strong, but it packs a punch, and it drinks probably way too easy for that strength. While I'm doing this, to engage you, I'm looking at you right there. I know. Let's see, who do I see? I see Bill. Bill's watching. So is Sarah and Lisa, apparently, if the Facebook is not lying to me. I put this to you. What is a beer right now that we are experiencing some cold weather, although it's supposed to warm up this weekend, that you cling to for a good fall, kind of warmer beer that leads you into the winter? I put that to your task. You tell me. Shout it out in the comments on there. I'm curious to know. But this is a great fall beer. Old Chub. It's a Scotch ale. So, oh, there's my wife. Yes. I see that she's watching. I didn't see it before. It's really good. It just hits the spot, especially this time of year. Scotch ale, named from beers that come from Scotland, have Scottish origin. Scotch ale distinguishes from Scottish ale. Scottish ales tend to be more reflective of lower strength Scottish ales, whereas a Scotch ale refers generally to a higher strength beer, often 8% or above, with a deeper, richer flavor. So, very good beer for the fall. Okay, bouncing over to a very timely beer. I almost got nervous when we got back from our trip because I realized I hadn't put this beer on tap yet, and it's one with a very tight expiration date. It's one of the series from Stone Brewing out of California. That is their Enjoy By series, and the name of the beer is the expiration date. Expiration date meaning just the date that they recommend that you drink the beer by, encouraging you to drink it as fresh as possible. I think I've talked about this before on here, but if I haven't, this is one of those beers. This is Stone Enjoy By 10/31/22. So Enjoy By Halloween. They want you to have this beer all consumed, which will be 30 days from the time that is brewed. So this beer gets to us pretty darn quick to be able to turn it around and enjoy it that fast. This beer is a hazy double IPA. As you might see, at least the early part of this beer is not particularly hazy. It's not uncommon in some kegs, if it sits still for quite a long time, that the haziness doesn't really carry through at some points, but the flavor is there. So this is a 9.4% alcohol Imperial IPA, and it is got that really pungent, kind of juicy hop character, but also because it's Stone, they tend to always have a little bit of a punch to them. They're West Coast, and even in their hazy IPAs, there's always a little bit of a nice, drier, kind of snappy finish on this, and this definitely carries along with that, along with a little bit of the alcohol heat. Yeah, this series of beers from Stone has, in my book at least, kind of cemented as like, if you see it, get it. As long as you're a person who likes IPAs and double IPAs. Mike, what do you got to say? Stone looks like a warehouse in the front and a Zen garden in the back. It's like I feel like there's got to be a mullet analogy here. You know, it's like the business in the front, party in the back sort of situation. All right, we'll have to get out and check it out. It's been on the list for a while, so another time we'll get out there. All right, Stone Enjoy by 1031. Come help us drink it up. We only got, under 2 weeks. Finish that thing off. I think we'll be able to do it. Okay, and then before I dip into my last beer here, I just wanted to give a shout out of some of the beer experiences we had since we talked last Wednesday. Last Wednesday at this time, we were coming to you from a beach in Manzanita, Oregon on the coast, and we had just finished that day checking out Pelican Brewing in both Pacific City and in Tillamook, and then also getting a really cool experience to go check out DeGard Brewing in also in Tillamook. Really, really cool brewery and amazing experience. So that was a lot of fun. That day, after we continued on, we made our way further north. We stopped in Cannon Beach, checked out yet another Pelican. You could drive just along the coast and keep hitting up Pelican brew pubs, and they're pretty great. They're all a little different. Very good beers at each one. And then we found our way to Public Coast. That was also in Cannon Beach. That was a really cool brewery, beautiful space. Super tasty blueberry seltzer that they had there. That was really nice, and a good selection of beers and bites. And then we made our way to Astoria that night, and ended up staying there in a haunted hotel, the Norblad Hotel, hotel hostel, however you'd like to think of it. If you're into that sort of thing, check it out. It didn't spook us too much, but I will say maybe we didn't sleep as soundly as we would have otherwise. No ghost experience, but some very good beers found. Fort George Brewing is a sort of an essential. And if you are into drinking and maybe you can just get yourself, you either don't care about ghosts or you just have enough to drink that you just fall right asleep, stay in the Norblad. It is the primo spot to be in Astoria if you enjoy drinking good beer and spirits. Fort George is literally across the street. A wide selection of really good IPAs. They have some good lagers, and some good sours, just a really good eclectic mix. We stayed across the street from Bridge and Tunnel, which is an awesome bottle shop owned by a cool dude named Dwayne. Shout out Dwayne. I'm sure he's not watching, but maybe he will someday. Kindred spirits of good beer lovers. Does a lot of off-sale bottles and cans, really cool specialty stuff, and then has a nice tap selection as well. So he was very hospitable to us, and we rocked out watching Rocky Horror Picture Show, and that was a lot of fun. We also made it over to Reach Break Brewing, some really cool sour beers there. We stopped by the OGs in town of Astoria Brewing, got some cocktails in town there. It may seem like all we did was drink on this trip, and I suppose in some degrees that's somewhat true, but it was in moderation. We were never really tearing it up. It was mostly just trying to get to appreciate as many of these places as possible. After that, we made a quick pop through downtown Portland, visited the Deschutes downtown location, which was very cool. They had Dissident on tap, which is a barrel-aged sour, Belgian-style sour ale that is super tasty. We were in a hurry to get our food, so we kind of had to slam it, which was strange and fun to do. Visited some other fun beer places, including Belmont Station, which is a really cool beer, another beer bottle shop and bar. It's a must-see in Portland. And then made our way up to Hood River, where we spent a couple of days, and we fell in love with Hood River. It was a super cool place. I had known of it because of Full Sail. They were one of the OG craft breweries from '87. We did stop there, had some Session Lager, got to have some of that, and some of their other local brews. But then also made our way over to check out some of the other well-established breweries there, most notably Pfriem, which is spelled P-F-R-I-E-M. And that was probably, at least for me, the most impactful brewery that we went to. Their beers were just fantastic across the board, but particularly their sour beers and their Belgian style barrel aged beers were incredible. Their food was just very, very good, and at least hit me just right. Represent a lot of local Oregon flavor there. Lots of really good stuff in the area. We also went to Ferment, which was really cool. And then did a quick little stop by Double Mountain. Hood River is a really cool spot. If you're in the Portland area, it's very well worth the very scenic drive to go check out Multnomah Falls along the way, and then just see the Columbia River Gorge. I would say if you find yourself in Portland and you have more than a couple of days, get out of the city, go to Hood River, or go to the coast, either way, but Hood River is pretty easy to access. So anyway, we loved it. Bring a beer back for Thursday? Well, perhaps we did. It won't be here by Thursday, but we have some beer coming back, Mike. So it won't be for this week, but it'll be next week. Okay, on to my final beer. Sorry to get too delayed there, but hopefully you found some interesting things if you make some Oregon travels. Hopefully any of that is resonating with you. So we're bookending with pumpkins. We started with pumpkin. We're finishing with pumpkin. David S. Pumpkins, people. If you don't know what that means, just type it into Google. Enjoy a few Tom Hanks Saturday Night Live skits. It's a lot of fun. This one is one of those pumpkin beers I was mentioning that is decadent and you're not going to drink a ton of, or you go fall down somewhere. This is Southern Tier, which you might be like, hey, that sounds familiar. I feel like you mentioned that brewery last time. This is kind of the darker, heftier compadre, friend, I don't know, however you want to say it, to Pum King. This is Warlock. So if you've had Southern Tier Pum King, which you may be somewhat familiar with, this is Warlock. It is a similar pumpkin flavored beer, but it is an imperial stout. So it also clocks in at a hair under 9%. And it has all the pumpkin-y goodness of Pum King, but it also adds this layer of roasty, chocolatey, dark chocolate goodness that's amazing as well. So this, sorry, that's what happens on live video. Sometimes you just freeze in the middle of a thought. This one is another limited release batch. We've got one keg of it. When it's gone, we'll be out for the season. So if it sounds like something up your alley, I would say make a trip. Come on over, come visit us, make an excuse to come hang out. It's a super tasty chocolate pumpkin spice beer experience. It's a little sweet, but it is not, a little sweet. I think you probably, if you know my tastes at all, you would know that just means it is a little sweet. It's not like a super syrupy, rich beer. It's just enough to kind of keep that high alcohol content from being too dry or bitter. So pumpkin on both sides. Southern Tier Warlock Pumpkin Imperial Stout. That's what I've got for you. So if you're making your way down here for Thirsty Thursday tomorrow, we've got some fun stuff lined up, but no Oregonian beers this week. Hoping that next week we will have some Oregonian beers, supposing all things go according to plan. Yes, next Wednesday, if you were lucky enough to get in on tickets, it just blows my mind still. Not blows my mind. I'm just very pleased to see the Tapas on Tap beer dinners that we've been doing with Chef Chris Ray and his crew continue to be such a success. It's been something I wanted to do for a long time, and Chef Ray will never let me live that down, that it took us this long to finally make it happen, but here we are. I've been very excited to make these things come together, and the fact that people seem to be as excited as I am to come attend them is very exciting. We put tickets on sale last night. We've done them on our website as a way to try and make things fair and kind of equitable for everyone to get access to them. and they sold out within like a couple of hours, which is kind of crazy. If you're interested in attending and you didn't get tickets for next Wednesday, wow. Wow. If you didn't get tickets, wow, pumpkin's got my throat. There we go. Sorry about that. If you didn't get tickets for next week's beer dinner, we do have a wait list going, so feel free to call the shop here, send us an email, send us a message on Facebook, however, and we'll put your name on the list, and if anyone drops out, we will add you into the mix. And that's what I know. That's what we've got going on here. Come on, hang out. This is a fun time of year where things kind of mellow out just a little bit. We get a little bit more time to kind of chit chat and enjoy your company here. So look forward to seeing you down here at the Punk, and we've got some good beers and coffee and all sorts of fun stuff for you guys. So have a great Wednesday night, stay warm, and we'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.